She's a super villainess with multiple identities, the ultimate nemesis of the heroine. Yuri, the heroine, was adopted by the Duke's family after her magical powers were discovered. After that, 4 men appeared in her life. The first is the handsome crown prince with noble status. The second is a mysterious sniper who always wears a cloak. The third is a fierce and wild werewolf with beast ears. The last is a millionaire merchant with vast wealth. These 4 men with vastly different personalities all fall for Yuri. The reason is simple. Yuri is as pure and beautiful as an angel. Of course, every novel needs an antagonist. But the villain in this story is not ordinary. She is the crown prince's fiancée. She is also the sniper's sister, the natural enemy of the fierce werewolf, and even the millionaire merchant's opponent. She is Melissa, this novel's super villainess. In the dining room, Melissa sits down coldly. She doesn't even greet her ducal father. As a villainess who makes enemies everywhere, she naturally shows no kindness to her family either. Melissa looks at her father provocatively. "Where is that white-haired boy who shares my blood? Is he dead?" The Duke, long accustomed to Melissa's sarcasm, calmly sips his tea and replies that he's gone out. Melissa continues to mock. "I think that boy barely remembers his own surname. He might as well change it." This earns the Duke's opposition. "Jack is our family's only heir." Melissa abruptly stands up. "The heir never showing his face. I don't understand why you value him so much." She laughs. "It's because he's a boy, isn't it? You never needed a daughter. It seems like having dinner with you was pointless." She walks away without looking back. Just leaving the Duke alone, he is angry and wondering how he ended up with such a daughter. Bearing the burden of Melissa's sins is frustrating. But on second thought, it's not so bad. Compared to her previous life as an overworked college student, this isn't terrible. If she hadn't transmigrated, she would probably have died from overwork anyway. However, an unexpected car accident caused her to be reborn as the supervillainess in this novel. Unlike ordinary villainesses, she has multiple malevolent identities. She has offended so many people, but living with the burden of villainous Melissa's sins is nothing to her, despite her shiny and prominent forehead, with her fierce eyes and golden pupils. It makes her look like a meme face. It doesn't matter. In the novel, villainous Melissa doesn't meet a tragic end, nor have a complicated backstory. She's just a noble lady living a privileged life. Melissa has no intention of bullying the heroine as she did in the book. She won't excessively reflect and become saintly. Nor will she try to seduce the men in the novel to build her own harem. So as long as she can endure, her life will be wonderful. In her room, Melissa begins writing. This heartfelt letter is for Crown Prince Ian. Melissa writes slowly, "On this beautiful day, I want to tell you, let's cancel our engagement." After finishing, Melissa feels refreshed. Crown Prince Ian is the man Melissa once loved deeply, the first burden she needs to eliminate. Melissa, immersed in her writing, adds, "If you insist on marrying into the Duke's family, why not marry Jack instead?" Oops, she accidentally wrote her true thoughts. Her maid watches the furiously writing Melissa with resignation, thinking her mistress has gone mad. Later, Melissa looks at the envelope with satisfaction. The Duke's daughter's writing is truly excellent. She hands the letter to Yona, asking her to deliver it to the palace and say it's from the Crown Prince's fiancé. Yona sighs, finding it troublesome. This is already the 49th letter. You might as well storm the palace and tell the Crown Prince directly. Melissa declares that if she doesn't receive a reply this time, she'll go to the palace herself. Yana takes the letter, ignores Melissa, and walks out briskly. Melissa freezes. Does this girl even regard her as her lady? Never mind, she should focus on what to wear when meeting Yuri. This woman is the super villainess. Yet her fiancé, the Crown Prince, flirts with another woman right in front of her. How could any villainess tolerate this? The man before her, who ignores his fiancé's feelings and flirts with another woman. He is Prince Ian, the Empire's Crown Prince and Melissa's fiancé. But because he despises Melissa and hasn't yet met his true love, he spends his days carousing and philandering. This lifestyle will continue until he meets Yuri. Until then, Melissa must face scenes like this. Melissa can no longer control her expression. The sight is too painful to watch. They're having such a good time, they don't even notice someone has arrived. Are his eyes just for decoration? Melissa had thought that even a fallen crown prince would at least drown his sorrows alone, or cry in solitude. She never expected him to use such a cliched tactic to seduce women. It's disgusting. At that moment, the woman playing with Ian finally notices Melissa. "Your Highness, who is this? A new maid?" Melissa thinks this woman's eyes must be defective. Which maid would dress so magnificently? Ian tells the woman to ignore her, and they continue their playful interaction. Melissa contemplates why she should tolerate this. First, this is the Crown Prince's reception room. Second, he brought this woman from outside. Third, this man is blatantly cheating in front of his fiancée. Most importantly, she came here today at Ian's invitation, and based on Melissa's memories, this man is a habitual offender. It means he is a rutting dog. Melissa slowly speaks up. "Your Highness, are you a dog?" Ian looks confused. Seeing his puzzled expression, Melissa repeats, "I'm asking if your Highness is a male dog." Ian and the woman are speechless at this question. He must be shocked. In the past, Melissa would have already started scolding his affair partner, without a single complaint about Ian himself. After hesitating, Ian finally manages to say, "Have you gone mad?" Melissa loudly accuses, "I think you're the one who's gone mad. Only a lunatic would bring his fiancée here and cheat in front of her. You should thank me I haven't shoved your head into an ashtray yet." In this novel, she despises Ian the most. Such a shameless person is difficult to like. Ian lacks confidence but still says, "I've heard you have terrible character, but I didn't expect you to be so unrestrained, daring to speak disrespectfully to my face." Melissa glares at Ian. "Do you know what truly terrible character is? You seem skilled at kissing. How about sharing a passionate kiss with the floor?" This statement leaves Ian stunned. He remains silent for a while, then surprisingly puts on a pitiful expression. At this moment, Melissa doesn't initially understand why the original villainess Melissa endured this, but as the conversation continues, her memories and emotions become clearer. According to Melissa's memories, Ian's infidelity has always been blamed on Melissa's volatile temperament. The man's cheating is justified, while the woman bears all criticism. Melissa has always silently endured it all. She has lived in such a place before, where people always blame a man's infidelity on the woman. It seems this Western-themed novel isn't much different, but now Ian seems to have something to say. He righteously declares, "You tormented me first. You're always clinging to me, bothering me every moment, constantly seeking me out. I've been suffering all along." He even looks aggrieved as he speaks. Melissa is exasperated, so that's why he's been silent all this time. So he's implying he's the victim? And he even looks wronged about it. Melissa impatiently clenches her fists. "Indeed, I was too clingy with your highness, but that was because I loved my fiancé you too much. I thought drinking tea together and embracing were normal behaviors between lovers. If these things bothered you, I'm willing to apologize." Melissa glances at Ian, who is actually nodding. She's never encountered such an absurd situation. It's truly headache-inducing. Making her apologize one-sidedly is impossible. Melissa points at Ian and says, "But this doesn't justify your outrageous behavior. You can torment me like this? Cheating is cheating. What do you have to feel wronged about?" All along, whenever Melissa received an invitation from Ian, she would carefully prepare her outfit and happily anticipate the day's arrival. But what always awaited Melissa was that same scene. Despite this, Melissa would attend every time because to her, an invitation meant the crown prince had thought of her, if only for a moment. Melissa points to her head. "Didn't you ever think I might break the engagement first? How can you be so confident?" Ian naturally replies, "Because you love me." Melissa falls silent. The next second, she grabs the nearby ashtray, and she smashes it against Ian's head, knocking him aside. But that is her imagination. But in reality, Melissa says, "But I don't love you anymore." Ian is stunned. "That's impossible." Melissa continues, "I no longer have any love for you now." Ian's expression is priceless, as if he's heard news of the apocalypse. To Ian, Melissa's love is taken for granted. After all, Melissa loved him wholeheartedly for 18 years. But now things are different. Melissa coldly says, "Love changes. I thought a crown prince who follows his desires rather than his heart would understand this principle. Let's cancel our engagement. Do you think we still need to maintain this relationship?" Now it's Ian's turn to be silent. Melissa feels unbearably angry. How annoying. She desperately wants to shed the title of fiancé. If empty-headed Ian becomes emperor, the country is doomed. Though he is indeed handsome. But in Melissa's eyes, he's nothing but a scoundrel. After a moment of silence, Ian refuses the proposal, stating they cannot break the engagement. Melissa is furious. There's a limit to shamelessness, and she can't tolerate it anymore. She loudly demands, "Why not?" At this crucial moment, the woman beside them tries to slip away quietly, but she accidentally fell down. It causes the ashtray on the table to fall to the ground. The noise attracts guards from outside. The guards are already accustomed to such situations. They grab Melissa's hands. "Please restrain yourself. We won't allow you to make trouble this time." Melissa looks around at the broken ashtray. She is constantly shouting. Another crying woman, and the weary-looking crown prince. Thinking about what Melissa had done here before, it's indeed difficult not to misunderstand, but Melissa still tries to explain. However, just as she opens her mouth, the other woman begins crying and runs into Ian's arms. Ian comforts her tenderly. Melissa curses this despicable couple in her heart. They all imagine her as the villainess, and no one stands on her side. Further argument would only waste breath. As she's being escorted out, Melissa looks back and glares at Ian. Thinking carefully, he still hasn't apologized. Melissa roars, "Remember this, you're completely out of the picture now." This woman is truly the super villainess. Unable to break her engagement with the crown prince, she now plots to assassinate him. Melissa sighs. Of course, she's not doing this for personal revenge. Although Ian publicly humiliated her and had her dragged out of the palace, and he makes her be scorned by the carriage driver. But Melissa remains rational. If someone like Ian ascends the throne, the country will descend into chaos. He will surely neglect his duties every day and do outrageous things, even if he reforms after meeting Yuri. Oh no, with his current behavior, Yuri wouldn't be with him. In the past, Ian occasionally showed kindness to Melissa, especially in social settings. Each time, his smile would make her heart bloom with joy. and so she fell for Ian's false affection. Melissa clenches her fists in indignation. How could she let the kind-hearted Yuri be deceived by such a scoundrel? The only solution is to assassinate him. She's already a villainess, so what's one more killing? But the question is, how to assassinate him? The target is the crown prince. She must be cautious. Thus, Melissa falls into a fantasy. When the carriage driver opens the door, he sees a chilling scene. Melissa with fierce eyes muttering, "Should I cut off his head or his hands first?" Finally, Melissa notices the driver. Have we arrived already? When she gets out, Melissa notices something. The driver's hands are trembling uncontrollably. Why is he so afraid? The driver, now shaking with fear, stammers, You can't just cut people up randomly." Melissa laughs. Is he scared? She might as well frighten him more. She gives the driver a sinister smile. What would you do if a supervillainess gave you this smile? The driver is terrified out of his wits, and he begins to kneel and beg for mercy. He doesn't want to die like this. Inside the room, the Duke is writing furiously. At this moment, Melissa knocks and enters. Do you have time? The Duke nods. Melissa lifts her head. Though she thought she was tall, she still has to look up at him, making her neck ache. And with that fierce, intimidating face, no one would doubt he's Melissa's father. But the Duke is famous for his stubbornness. Even as a supervillainess, she can't escape this feudal family. In medieval fantasy novels, patriarchal thinking is inevitable. Just as healers in games are typically female, warriors are typically male, this novel is the same. But Duke Bodbrat's patriarchal views are more severe than most. As they say, every effect has a cause. The Duke has never shown any kindness to his eldest daughter Melissa, but he pours all his love into his young son Jack, even sending him to study abroad. So Melissa deeply resents her father. For many years, this father and daughter have never spoken properly. The two face each other in silence, seeing Melissa not speaking. Duke turns to leave. Melissa stares at the Duke's back in anger. Did he not hear her, or is he deliberately ignoring her? If it's the latter, that's too cruel. Melissa shouts, I won't take much of your time, Duke, but this matter is important. Please talk with me. The Duke finally turns around and asks what it's about. Melissa is about to speak, but gets interrupted by the Duke. Since it's important, let's talk in the reception room. I need to prepare. With that, he rushes off. Melissa is left bewildered. Prepare what? And is it necessary to go to the reception room? She only wants to cancel her engagement. Melissa suddenly imagines, could he be preparing water to throw at her, like in those cliched television dramas? At that moment, the Duke suddenly pokes his head out. Give me 5 more minutes. No, make it 10. Then he disappears again. Melissa is confused. What's going on? At this rate, before she can eliminate the Crown Prince, she might be eliminated by the Duke. The last confrontation with the Crown Prince happened in the reception room. Now it's the reception room again. This is truly an ominous place. 10 minutes later, Melissa opens the reception room door. The scene inside astonishes her. Pink balloon decorations, and Duke dressed in a pink suit. Melissa instinctively asks, Do you have another daughter who's having a birthday party here? The Duke immediately responds, Don't be ridiculous. Our family has only 3 members. Sit down. Melissa glances at the Duke. Why is he wearing a pink suit? That face with those clothes is a terrible match, looking 500 times more terrifying than usual. Melissa tries to speak but gets interrupted by the Duke again. He suggests Melissa first eat some snacks, claiming they're popular among young people. Melissa looks at the teacup before her. Could it be poisoned? Is this tea really safe to drink? As Melissa secretly pours the tea away, Duke speaks up. Tell me what you need. The last time we talked like this was 10 years ago. Melissa is speechless. I greet you every morning at breakfast. But the Duke, immersed in sadness, completely ignores Melissa. Melissa feels foolish. She thought they could talk properly. Opportunity knocks but once. Melissa decisively speaks up. I'll be direct, I want to cancel. But before she can finish, the door is kicked open. The newcomer, wrapped in a cloak, looks ready to eat someone. Melissa digs her ear and deliberately says, Am I deaf? I don't seem to have heard a knock. The man slowly removes his hat. This black-cloaked barbarian is Melissa's brother Jack. He is one of the men who falls for Yuri. He is also the heir to the family, and he is a sniper serving the royal family. Anyone opposing the royal family will be quietly eliminated by Jack. And he deeply despises his own sister. Young Jack has become the Empire's strongest sniper. His magical power level is also well known. But for some reason, he never socializes. Even when he attends events, he just stands silently to the side, covering his face. He doesn't like staying at home either, often disappearing. But being too handsome does bring trouble, so covering his face is understandable. His parents' excellent genes were all inherited by him. Melissa exclaims it's unfair, she can't snipe and has no magical power, and her brother is even more handsome than she is. They hardly look like siblings. Melissa liked Jack in the novel because he was silent and handsome, and he always quietly protected Yuri from behind. Jack glances at Melissa and then speaks contemptuously. Why aren't you dead yet? Father, what is all this? Why hang these messy ribbons? This kind of thing even 3-year-olds would find childish. And what's this tea? It tastes like cheap tea from the market. How can these things match your noble status? This is why I don't come home. Melissa is speechless. It seems she misunderstood Jack. He's actually quite talkative. Jack turns and continues to criticize. You're always like this. Whatever I say you nod, but things end up in a mess. It's the same this time. I said Melissa is still a little girl. Let's help her decorate her room the way she likes so she might behave better. But you ended up making it like this. Melissa is at a loss for words. So he's the culprit. This is even worse than the crown prince. Where did the cold beauty she once knew go? The contrast is too stark. Although Melissa already knew he disliked his sister and father, she didn't expect it to be to this degree. Her Jack wasn't like this. And Duke, silently enduring his nagging. Whatever, think positively. This could be considered gap mo, the charm of unexpected contrast. Melissa softly calls Jack's name. Jack suddenly falls silent. He looks at Melissa and asks what she wants. Melissa doesn't know what to say. She decides to smile first. Then she awkwardly asks, Jack, why are you here? Jack's face immediately darkens. His face is full of disgust, his brows furrowed. Melissa is about to explode. He's ignoring her. What does this mean? It seems he's not silent and reserved, he just doesn't want to speak to people he dislikes. Melissa has urgent business and doesn't want to argue with him. She can only force a smile and ask Jack to step out. She needs to speak with the Duke, meaning she wants him to get out quickly. Surely he understands. Jack struggles for a while and finally utters the word, you. Melissa asks, you don't call me sister? Jack points at Melissa and then says, Ian. Melissa is instantly furious. He's bringing up the worst possible topic. Why does this guy suddenly mention Ian? Right, in the original story there's such a passage. Jack and Ian grew up together. This is why Jack serves the royal family. Later, the two best friends become rivals in love, making the story more interesting. Jack continues, ever since you said you wanted to break the engagement, Ian has been bothering me every day. So you can't break the engagement. Melissa falls silent. That despicable Ian actually complained to Jack. The scene makes Melissa's skin crawl. Ian, with a troubled face, finds Jack. Jack, I need to tell you something. Melissa wants to break our engagement. Jack says it's not a big deal, but Ian hugs him. Don't go, hear me out. Go back and persuade your sister, please. Melissa nods. It must be exactly as she imagined. Damn, she's thinking of that disgusting face again. How annoying. Melissa analyzes the situation. This boy suddenly returned because of Ian. But his earlier expression of not wanting to see her suggests he wanted to talk to the Duke alone. The Duke always obeys his son. And Melissa cannot refuse the Duke's fate. Jack wants to use this point to prevent Melissa from breaking the engagement. But he didn't expect to find Melissa with the Duke, so he directly brought up the matter. Melissa laughs coldly. Jack, you're worse than I imagined. Her words surprise both Jack and the Duke. She grits her teeth. Who do you think you are? What right do you have to stop me from breaking my engagement? You have no qualification. Be careful, or I'll pull out all your hair. Did Ian ask you to teach me a lesson so you came right back? Are you his dog? Don't think I'm easy to bully just because I usually tolerate you. Faced with Melissa's accusations, Jack remains silent for a long time before squeezing out a sentence. Are you insane? Then they glare at each other. Melissa sits on the sofa behind her, crosses her legs, and looks at Jack with authority. I know you don't like me, but I don't like you either. I only endured you for so long because you're my brother. I didn't expect you to take advantage of my kindness. Since you don't treat me as your sister, I won't treat you as my brother. I don't want a brother like you. Seeing his sister seething with anger, Jack suddenly loses his nerve. And he hangs his head in shame. Clearly he is aware that his actions were dishonorable. Melissa turns to the Duke and addresses him. Your Grace. Just these 4 words somehow startle the Duke, causing him to spill coffee on his leg. Seeing his reaction, Melissa decides not to press him further. She returns to the main topic. This is what I wanted to discuss today. I wish to cancel my engagement to the Crown Prince. I simply cannot bear this fiancé title any longer. You don't have to help me, but if you try to obstruct me, I won't meekly submit. Melissa smiles and adds, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave now. She leaves Jack and the Duke staring at each other in the silent room. Melissa thinks she may have been too emotional just now, but it shouldn't be a problem. Melissa begins slapping her own cheeks. She collapses onto the floor. At this point, she has to admit that her once cozy sanctuary has transformed into a living hell, whether it's the wall on the right or the wall on the left. Even the ceiling and the floor, they're all covered with pictures of Ian. It's all because of that white-haired demon Jack. Melissa fumes with anger. How dare he do this to her? And where did he even get all these portraits from? Most importantly, they're attached with magic and impossible to remove. She needs to escape this place quickly, or Ian's portraits will disgust her to death. Barely escaping her room, Melissa wipes her sweat, having nearly fainted from anger. To her horror, the most disgusting portrait hangs right on the door. Jack, today is the day you die. Melissa sets off with murderous intent to find her brother. True to his assassin nature, Melissa searches everywhere without finding him. Has he escaped already? To commit such a vile act and then flee, what a contemptible coward. Melissa shifts her focus and stops a servant to ask about Jack's whereabouts. The servant replies nervously, Young Master left a message for you before he departed. Restraining her anger, Melissa asks, What my message? The trembling servant says, Pon, don't say thank you. These 4 words alone drive Melissa to punch the wall in rage. That boy must think I'm still hopelessly devoted to Ian, just throwing a little tantrum. He thinks seeing Ian's pictures will immediately cheer me up. He has absolutely no respect for me, and not just a little disrespect. Melissa begins laughing hysterically. The servant nearby is nearly frightened to tears. Miss, are you feeling unwell? I should call a doctor. She runs away immediately. Melissa is now in a frenzy. The servants think she has gone mad, but that doesn't matter. At this moment, Melissa has only one thought. Dear brother, come have a chat with my fists. Jack, today you'll learn the true meaning of fear. Meanwhile, Jack remains unaware of the approaching danger as he enjoys the breeze. Soon, he hears voices nearby saying they heard rat sounds in the chimney. Only today did I discover it was a little white rat. Jack is startled by this voice and looks toward its source. Melissa is peering through the window with an ominous expression. Jack, I found you. And today, Melissa is here to teach him a lesson. Jack is surprised. How did she find this place? The answer is simple. Melissa had read the novel. Of course, she can't tell Jack this. So she casually remarks, and was a piece of cake for me? Their current location is on the mansion's roof. Near the chimney, a secluded spot where no one would disturb them. It's quite dangerous though. One misstep could be fatal. In the novel, Jack often came here to escape his sister and father. Later, he would even bring Yuri here. When facing with Jack's dismissal, Melissa smiles and says she has something to say. How dare you desecrate my only sanctuary like that? Jack shrugs. Don't you adore Ian? Enraged, Melissa lets out several choice curses. Realizing her outburst, she clears her throat and states she no longer likes Ian and wants to break off the engagement. She was blinded by infatuation before, but now she can't stand that heartless playboy. He's a complete scumbag. Hearing this, Jack can't help but laugh. Melissa immediately points an accusing finger. Put, what right do you have to laugh? You invaded my room without permission. It's outrageous. You should at least consider others' feelings. Jack asks, why should I consider them? Melissa tells herself to stay calm. She patiently explains, Intal's cause it's basic human decency. Anyway, if you continue with such pranks, I won't let you off lightly. Jack doesn't understand or care, so what? Melissa is baffled. So old are you this year? Already, so why can't you understand such simple principles? Jack replies flatly, indeed. Maintaining her smile, Melissa threatens, if you mess with my things again, I'll pluck every hair from your head. Just then, a voice calls from below. They look down to see Martha, Melissa, and Jack's nanny. She had left last year after the siblings came of age. Though talkative, she was the only person in the family who loved Melissa. But why has she suddenly returned? As Melissa ponders this, Martha shouts, come down here right now. After they descend, Martha scolds them both and makes them apologize. Martha sighs in exasperation. Though I didn't want to start nagging as soon as I returned. Miss, you're about to be married and should be more mindful of your behavior. These words shock Melissa completely. Did she hear correctly? Martha thinks she's just being shy and repeats the news. I heard that at the Emperor's spring ball, they'll announce your wedding. I rush back as soon as I heard. Melissa feels a surge of anger rising. What's going on? Martha, still unaware of the gravity of the situation, continues congratulating Melissa on marrying her beloved. She even becomes teary-eyed, saying how delighted she is. Melissa feels a headache coming on and then faints. But Martha thinks she fainted from joy. Lying in bed, Melissa refuses to open her eyes. The maid at her side sees through her act. Miss, you can stop pretending to sleep. Melissa feels awkward. How did she know? Whatever, she has too many unresolved issues to worry about this one. She lies back down. If only she could stay in bed forever, then she wouldn't have to think so much. Looking back, Melissa once pestered Ian, insisting they marry next spring. If her current self could advise that Melissa, she'd tell her to stop being so pathetic. The situation is partly her fault. This is what happens when acting impulsively. She's reaping what she sowed. What concerns Melissa most is that previously, Ian didn't seem to care about marriage, but now he suddenly changed his tune and announced the wedding news. In the original novel, Ian probably wouldn't even invite Melissa to the ball. But after hearing about her wanting to break off the engagement, he assumed she was just impatient to get married and thought announcing the wedding news publicly would suffice. He didn't even notify Melissa. Melissa is furious. How little does he think of me? He just arranged everything with the Duke. Just as she rises to confront the Duke, she learns he's fled. The maid also mentions, C&I heard the Crown Prince bought many expensive jewels and dresses, saying he wants his fiancée to shine at the ball. Melissa is so angry she feels dizzy. The audacious ruler. She's at least the Duke's daughter, yet he treats her like some pauper who can't afford jewelry. Too presumptuous. She must kill him. But the immediate problem is that the wedding news has spread throughout the city. And in others' eyes, she's the villainess who's desperately clinging to the Crown Prince. No one would believe her. Perhaps she should just skip the ball, Melissa thinks, quite pleased with this solution. This is the most effective strategy. The Empire holds grand spring and autumn balls annually. Besides nobles, some wealthy commoners can also pay to attend. As the Duke's daughter and the Crown Prince's fiancée, Melissa cannot be absent. And now everyone knows the wedding announcement will be made at the ball. If Melissa doesn't show up, people will surely gossip about Ian. Suddenly, Melissa thinks this isn't such a bad idea. She casually tells her maid, "Hyuna, break my leg, so I won't have to dance." On second thought, maybe she should just kill Ian, but how should she do it? Who would be willing to take on the job of assassinating the Empire's crown prince? Melissa is indignant. Must she really attend this ball? Why is she being forced into this by this jerk? She punches her pillow repeatedly, venting her anger. With only 2 weeks until the ball, what should she do? Melissa is completely dispirited. Since she can't escape, should she think about what dress to wear? She should choose the ugliest gown, something like a tattered sack. However, Melissa is so preoccupied with dealing with Ian that she completely forgets what's about to happen at the ball. Looking at the array of dresses, Melissa is dissatisfied. 2 glamorous ones won't do. 2 dignified ones won't do. Isn't there just a sack? Typically, nobles would custom order gowns and jewelry a month in advance for a ball. But the spring ball isn't just any ball. People attending the spring ball would travel overseas for their attire, all to vie for attention at the ball. For Melissa, this is a perfect opportunity to get back at Ian. If she attends in bizarre attire, Ian surely wouldn't want to marry her. Yona cautions, "If you do that, your reputation will be ruined." Melissa dismisses this. "My reputation is already bad. It can't get much worse." Just then, Jack's voice cuts in, and when a person willingly degrades themselves, they have no bottom line. Jack removes his hat, revealing his exquisitely beautiful face. Melissa finds it dazzling. She bursts into laughter. "Toe white-haired boy, does big sister buying a dress mean you have to come and see? I didn't know you liked your sister so much. If you dare say you like me, I'll pull out all your teeth." Jack retaliates by giving her the middle finger. Jack scoffs. "Do you think I want to be here?" Melissa adopts a knowing look. "It must be Ian who sent you. You're truly Ian's dog." She then starts trying on dresses in front of the mirror, lavishly praising herself. Seeing his self-absorbed sister, Jack makes a retching sound. Melissa impatiently tells Jack to shut up. She asks Yona to tell Jack to get out. Yona nods and says to Jack, "Them as Melissa says to get out." Jack is displeased. Sai won't. Then Yona looks at Melissa's challenging gaze and continues. "Tingus, to young Ling lady says go get married." Unable to outbanter Melissa, Jack silently lowers his head. Melissa prepares to head home. Looking at the beautiful weather outside, she clenches her fists. On such a nice day, she has to waste time buying a dress. Yona reminds her, to spring ball is next week. If we don't select a dress today, we might not make it in time. Melissa wants to do this, but she knows nothing about fashion. As for socializing, she can't even handle basic interpersonal relationships. The spring ball is a trial for Melissa. Most importantly, she hasn't figured out how to get revenge on Ian. Her mind is a complete mess. Maybe she should just blow up the venue. Just then, Melissa notices a beggar in the alley. Upon closer inspection, she sees this beggar emits a foul odor, with long hair hiding his face. He's thin as a bamboo pole, looking like he might starve to death any moment. When the beggar looks up, Melissa suddenly has a brilliant idea. She laughs shrilly. This time she'll make Ian lose face completely. "Ian, let's see." She extends her hand to the beggar. Smiling, she offers to take him for a meal. Yona initially wanted to dissuade Melissa, but considering her temperament, she gave up. The beggar tremblingly takes Melissa's hand. His messy hair covers half his face, but soon he'll undergo an astonishing transformation. Can you believe that this blue-haired handsome man exuding noble aura was just a dirty beggar moments ago? Melissa is very satisfied with what she sees. At the ball, many girls will surely surround Ian, so she needs to find a man who will leave him stunned. And this man is the beggar before her. Melissa asks, "Can you help me with something?" The beggar waits in confusion for Melissa to continue, completely unaware that he's now radiantly handsome. Melissa isn't satisfied with transmigrating as a villainess, but there are benefits, like seeing many handsome men, her handsome fiancé, the crown prince, her gorgeous brother. Even the servants at the Duke's mansion are all presentable. In such an environment, Melissa developed a keen aesthetic sense. When she saw that beggar, this ability awakened. Despite his disheveled appearance, his outstanding looks couldn't be concealed. She needs exactly such a handsome man to get back at Ian. So she must bring him back. Yona is displeased with Melissa's decision, but when Melissa whispers quadruple salary in her ear, Yona finds herself fully supporting Melissa's decision. People should help each other. This is what befits a noble lady. After boarding the carriage with them, Melissa suddenly realizes she's forgotten something. Meanwhile, Jack is huddled alone somewhere. Where on earth did Melissa go? Melissa has already returned home with the beggar. They begin implementing the plan, with step 1 being the beggar's makeover. Melissa sends him to bathe first, then contemplates her own situation. Ian chose to cheat to get back at her. So even if Melissa flirts with another man, he has no right to be angry. But if Melissa does the same, she'd become trashed just like him. So Melissa doesn't plan to actually cheat. She's just acting. A fiancé who was clinging to him yesterday suddenly easily links arms with another man today. And no one knows who this man is. These things will surely make Ian anxious. That's exactly what she wants. Melissa doesn't care what others think of her. She just wants everyone to know that Melissa isn't marrying Ian or no one. She invites the beggar to attend the ball together. Melissa kindly states she won't force him. As a noble, she should help others. Of course, if he agrees, she'll pay accordingly. She tells the beggar he doesn't need to learn any etiquette. He just needs to stand beside her. After hearing this, the beggar nods seriously. He even smiles shyly, radiating charm that strikes Melissa's heart. Melissa applauds. "That's it. Just maintain that smile. You're incredibly handsome." Hearing Melissa's generous praise, the beggar suddenly stiffens. Melissa laughs. Is he being shy? Come to think of it, she doesn't even know his name. As Melissa asks for his basic information, the beggar seems flustered. When he opens his mouth, Melissa is shocked to discover he has no tongue. No wonder he hasn't spoken a word. Just then, Yona brings paper and pen. The beggar writes, "My name is Nine. I've been wandering homeless. Thank you for helping me." He bows to Melissa. Melissa feels a bit embarrassed and suggests they eat together. Nine's eyes light up at the mention of food. They all head to the dining hall. On the day of the ball, Melissa is dressed radiantly. The day has finally come. "Let's go." Melissa claps her hands. The well-dressed Nine walks out and takes Melissa's hand. She thinks Nine is truly gorgeous. Someone will be lucky to have him. This plan is childish and disrespectful, possibly earning her the charge of disgracing the royal family. Though she's anxious inside, there's no alternative. Melissa winks. "Hi, Nine, don't worry. If anything happens, I'll make sure you escape by carriage. Do you trust Big Sister?" The shy Nine turns away, unable to handle her charm. Outside, Ian is already waiting in the carriage. Though he looks handsome today, he can't compare to Nine. Just then, Ian notices Melissa and hurriedly greets her. Melissa gracefully replies, "We're here." Seeing this scene, Ian forces a smile, feeling a strange sense of familiarity. Melissa's lips curl into a confident smile. Scumbag? Surprised? She wants to laugh triumphantly, but she gracefully says, "Bayan Scientine, I'm surprised your highness personally came to escort me. I'm truly honored." Ian points at Nine and asks, "Who's that beside you?" Melissa leans on Nine's shoulder and smiles, "And your highness needn't worry about him. He's just my dance partner." Now Ian is alarmed. "I am not your dance partner?" Melissa feigns confusion. "And your highness never agreed to be my dance partner. And I thought your highness would be busy, so I found a dance partner. Is there a problem? Let's meet at the ball." Watching Melissa walk away, Ian becomes anxious. "Where are you going?" "The carriage is right here." Melissa covers her mouth and laughs. "If the three of us sit in one carriage, people will surely mock us. Besides, I dislike such awkward situations." With that, she leaves with Nine. Melissa can't express how pleased she is right now. Damn scoundrel crown prince. The show is just beginning. When they reach the venue, she'll make him swallow all his humiliation. She laughs joyfully. Nine observes all this, hoping the young lady isn't in trouble. At the ball, Melissa sees the crowd, their scrutinizing gazes and gossipy expressions. The effect exceeds expectations, but such reactions are normal. After all, she's not with the crown prince, but with a handsome man, and showing affection in front of the crown prince. From an onlooker's perspective, this is straight out of a soap opera. Those unfamiliar nobles don't dare approach them, just circling around. The scene is so awkward that Ian asks everyone to go dance. Understanding his intention, the crowd disperses. Melissa is scornful. If they're so curious, they should just look openly. These people dance while sneaking glances. Won't they step on their partner's feet? Just then, Ian approaches Melissa and invites her to dance. But Melissa fiercely replies, "I won't dance." She adds sarcastically, "Sorry, my dance partner doesn't like me dancing with others." Nine looks innocent. He hasn't done anything. This puts Ian in an awkward position. He says softly, "Continuing like this isn't good for you either." Melissa feigns innocence. "And can't help it. I'd love to dance with your highness, but my male companion disagrees." "Why might that be?" Just then, a waiter brings desserts. Melissa deliberately drops one on the floor, then pretends to be horrified, saying her hand slipped. She steps on it. After stabilizing her slippery shoe, Melissa sighs, "See, my shoes are very slippery. Maybe that's why he won't let me dance with others." Just then, a woman approaches Ian from behind and invites him to dance. The irritated Ian leaves with her. Melissa is very satisfied with her performance this time. She intimidated him with just her demeanor. It feels great. The delighted Melissa pulls Nine aside to taste champagne. She whispers thanks in his ear, promising to properly thank him after the ball. Nine maintains his smile, his face flushed red. Melissa is very pleased with this. Nine is truly her masterpiece. They clink their glasses. However, the next moment, Nine's face shows terror. Melissa is puzzled. "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" Nine's mouth opens and closes as if saying, sorry. Then he thrusts his glass into Melissa's hand and runs off. Melissa is bewildered. Did she do something wrong? Or is Ian making him uncomfortable? But Ian is dancing in the center of the ballroom. His expression was like he'd seen a ghost. What's going on? Suddenly, Melissa relaxes. "And is he going to the bathroom?" "He looked urgent. He could have at least told me." Melissa decides to wait for him here. But 2 hours pass, and Nine still hasn't returned. People have started noticing that Melissa's dance partner is missing. 9 knows noble etiquette and is familiar with attendant duties, suggesting he was once a noble's attendant. But he's probably never been to the palace. Could he be lost? Or has she been abandoned? If this continues, she'll be utterly humiliated. Melissa absolutely cannot let this happen. She must find 9. Golden hair that catches the eye, with azure eyes that seem to hold the stars and sea. Her beauty is like a water lily blooming under moonlight, delicate and moving. This is the female protagonist's standard configuration. Melissa never imagined that while searching for 9, she'd encounter the novel's heroine Yuri. She is indeed beautiful. No wonder everyone in the novel falls for her. Melissa involuntarily calls out her name. Yuri is puzzled. Do we know each other? I understand. You must have heard of me. You're not mistaken. I am Yuri, the adopted daughter of the Elizabeth family. Melissa laughs awkwardly. Nobles adopting commoner children isn't uncommon. But the Elizabeth family's adopted daughter is definitely a hot topic. The Elizabeth family is conservative and powerful, gathering many magic talents. Since Yuri could become one of them, it proves she possesses strong magical abilities. But because she was born to commoners, it sparked quite a bit of gossip. Not an easy path. But right now, 9 is a priority. Just as Melissa is about to leave, Ian's voice comes from the bushes. Melissa is stunned. Why is he here? Is he planning to take advantage of her dance partner's absence to announce the wedding? But clearly, Ian has no time for Melissa now because upon seeing Yuri, it was love at first sight. Melissa is also taken aback. How could she have forgotten? Ian and Yuri meet at the spring ball. This encounter is one of the novel's iconic scenes, and right now this scene is unfolding before her eyes. Melissa feels like a third wheel. Why does her heart feel so uncomfortable? Back home, Melissa sighs heavily. How did things turn out like this? She even lost her dance partner. Thankfully, the wedding announcement wasn't made, though this wasn't her doing. Melissa feels all her plans have failed. But what about 9? What's his story? He promised to help. Melissa decides never to trust men's words again. Meanwhile, 9 is running through the dark forest. He must escape quickly. Staying with Melissa would only implicate her. Just then, a dark-skinned, red-haired man appears. Who's this? Isn't this the Blue Wolf Clan's disgrace? 9, you finally dared to show your face? 9 is silent. He watches the approaching blade, his heart filled only with apologies to Melissa, until Melissa witnesses her fiancé fall in love at first sight with the heroine. She confirms this is indeed the novel's world. Everything will unfold according to the novel's plot. Though her actions aren't controlled by the novel, her abilities are limited. She can only change events Melissa is involved in, so no matter how she schemes against Ian, it's useless. She's actually helping him develop his relationship with the heroine. Realizing this, Melissa loses all motivation. Her efforts to break off the engagement are just wasting time. Seeing Melissa's listlessness, Martha scolds, "You're dispirited because you stay at home all day. You're just like young Master Jack when he was little. Why don't you go outside for a walk? The roses in the garden are blooming beautifully. Oh, I've prepared a picnic basket. Miss, let's go quickly. It's been so long since we had a picnic. I'm excited just thinking about it." Melissa is going crazy. She quickly signals Yona for help. But Yona indicates, "Tyne, you're doomed today." Martha is indeed an excellent nanny, but her cooking skills are truly concerning. Under the blue sky with white clouds and across the flowery meadow, Martha opens her dreadful culinary creation. Martha and Melissa have always shared a mother-daughter-like bond. The sun umbrella and table settings were surely prepared by Martha for this picnic. Melissa decides to sacrifice herself since Martha seems so happy, but the food before her is truly impossible to swallow. Just then, Melissa suddenly senses something. With a serious expression, she lunges toward Martha, telling her to move quickly. The moment they leave the table, something like an explosion occurs there. Amid her concern, Melissa secretly rejoices. At least now she won't have to eat that food. But first, she needs to address the current situation. With vibrant red hair and fluffy ears, the handsome werewolf Jess appears, one of the heroine Yuri's admirers. Melissa coldly states, "Tina, I don't recall inviting you." Jess dismisses her concern. "So what? You've brought random men home from the street anyway." Melissa, grinding her teeth, thinks, "Kiech, what an unreasonable scoundrel." Or she shouts, "If you can't speak properly, get out. How dare you cause trouble at the Duke's mansion? Have you contracted rabies?" This directly angers Jess. "Don't you seem to know about me, young lady? Do you think mere humans can stop me?" Melissa fumes. Jess's defining trait is his contempt for humans. He's an extreme racist. Though merely second in command among werewolves, according to the original story, his strength far exceeds ordinary humans. However, at that moment, a bullet shoots past, landing right in front of him. This silent white magic attack comes from Jack. He speaks calmly. Has a stray dog wandered in? Only Melissa knows why Jack has appeared. He doesn't fire to protect everyone, nor to expel the intruder from the Duke's mansion. It's simply because wolves belong to the canine family, and he happens to be allergic to dog fur. Who will win, the refined long-range shooter or the fierce close combat warrior? Watching their battle, Melissa can think of only one phrase: dog complete chaos. These two mad dogs have wrecked the place. If she had a gun, she'd shoot them both without hesitation. Never underestimate a modern person. After several more loud crashes, servants are either injured or crying. Yet the two men continue fighting. Martha is on the verge of tears. Oh my, the Duke's mansion is being destroyed. In her agitation, she falls to the ground. Melissa, unable to contain her anger anymore, these two mongrels are completely inconsiderate. She shouts furiously, "You two dogs, stop right now! Have you both gone mad? You think I don't exist because I'm quiet?" One barges in uninvited, picking fights in someone else's home. The other, supposedly the young master of the Duke's house, shows no regard for his own home, eagerly fighting with an outsider. "Are you both deliberately ignoring me?" Jack and Jess suddenly find themselves unable to move. Is this bloodthirst? Melissa's rage is skyrocketing, and since father isn't home, I'm in charge here. Both of you, listen carefully. If you have something to say to me, send a formal visiting card and come back. Showing up uninvited like this, I have no interest in hearing you out. Disappear from my sight before I pluck out all your fur. And Jack, are you coming down or not? Are your eyes merely decorative? The servants are screaming in terror. The Duke's mansion is nearly destroyed and you can't see that? What a capable future Duke you are. If the past Dukes knew, they'd probably dance with joy in their graves. With your power, you should use it for good, not to bully the weak. What kind of hero does that? If you understand, then act now. One clean up, one leave. Indoors, Melissa holds an ice pack to cool down. Those two had never been so obedient. They must have been startled by her anger and didn't know how to react. But once they recover, they'll realize she's just an easily bullied noble lady. Just then, the servants arrive, anxiously asking if she needs a doctor. Melissa is puzzled. What's going on? The servants previously avoided her, but now, after what just happened, they only have admiration for her. Though somewhat embarrassed, Melissa suddenly finds this feeling of admiration not bad at all. She says slowly, "Protecting you all is my duty. Thank you for your hard work all these years." After dismissing the servants, Melissa contemplates her next move. She can't possibly move them emotionally like Yuri would. That leaves only force as an option. Melissa calmly says, "Hyuna, contact the Duke and find me the most skilled swordsmanship teacher." The teacher praises Melissa's progress. "Young lady, you're a genius. Just 1 month and you've reached this level." In fact, Melissa herself is surprised that the supposedly magic-deficient, physically unimpressive Melissa turns out to be a swordsmanship prodigy. Although others disapprove of this behavior, if not for this incident, she might never have discovered this talent. Being a genius feels wonderful. Originally intending to learn how to use that thing, she unexpectedly found this additional gift. Just then, a servant arrives with something. "Pardon the interruption during your practice. Here's a letter from the Bolton family." Bolton is the surname of the werewolf family. The letter has a dark red tail fur attached. It's from Jess, the only red-furred werewolf in the Bolton family. Melissa frowns. Chang can't believe he actually sent a visiting card. It's been a month, hasn't it? Quite impressive for his personality to wait a month. Melissa carefully recalls, in the original story, Jess's break-in at the Duke's mansion should occur in late summer, but it's still spring. He and Yuri shouldn't even know each other yet. Why is he looking for her? Could it be because of 9? After practice, Melissa returns to her room. There lies an injured wolf, blue in color. She had rescued it on a rainy night while walking her pet dog. Then she found it severely wounded in the courtyard. She brought it in, but it still hasn't awakened. Melissa thinks it strongly resembles 9, but in this state she can't ask it anything. Well, there's still time, so she'll take it slowly. A month later, in early summer, Melissa approaches the Duke. "I have a favor to ask. I warned you before that if you stopped me from breaking off my engagement, I wouldn't let it go. Yet you secretly helped Ian spread rumors. Though that was the Crown Prince's request, you are still my father." The Duke anxiously asks, "What do you want?" Melissa says slowly, "I want to give the servants time off, keeping only a few in the mansion." She's giving the servants a holiday out of fear they might get hurt. Who knows if that guy might suddenly turn savage seeing so many humans. She doesn't want to witness such a scene. In the courtyard, Melissa waits. Today is the day Jess will visit. She asks Heine beside her, "Are you ready?" She looks happy, the substitute maid. Melissa instructs her to tell the guards to notify her immediately if they see a red-haired man. Yet the next second, Jess descends from the sky just like last time. But this time, Melissa is different. She draws her sword and strikes, sending Jess flying backward with blood spurting from his mouth. Melissa glares menacingly ahead. This time she absolutely won't let him off. With just one strike, she sends the descending werewolf flying a dozen meters. And he rolled several times before stopping. Melissa covers her mouth mockingly. "Oh my Jess, you look quite pathetic." However lacking in manners, one shouldn't constantly jump over other people's walls. Always descending from above. Do you think you're descending from heaven? Jess can't believe it. She's just an ordinary human. How could she send a werewolf flying? Jess angrily shouts, "Hey, what did you just do?" Melissa contemptuously picks at her ears. "My name isn't hey or you. My name is Melissa." Jess points at Melissa's nose, repeating her name. "So, what did you just do? Was that magic or an illusion?" Melissa grips her sword. "You're so noisy. Stop your yapping. That was obviously my true strength." Though she says this, it's clearly a lie to fool Jess. The sword in Melissa's hand appears ordinary but is actually one of the royal family's heirlooms. Such royal collections are usually confidential. Moreover, due to the previous emperor forgetting where he placed it, even the royal family doesn't know its whereabouts. In other words, it's a completely forgotten treasure sword. In the latter half of the novel, Ian obtains this sword and becomes the Empire's strongest swordsman. But she has taken it out first, finders keepers. This sword was custom made for the male protagonist. It carries multiple magical properties, making it an invincible starter equipment. Though the sword's abilities change according to its owner's capabilities, even at its weakest, it can handle an immature wolf cub. As she thinks this, Melissa strikes the rambling Jess again. Jess howls, "That hurts. Are you asking for death?" Melissa doesn't waste words. "If you're willing, we can find an opportunity to properly spar. But what exactly did you come to see me about today? Surely not for afternoon tea." Jess scratches his head. "Didn't I write it in my letter?" Melissa indicates she couldn't understand what it meant. Jess suddenly moves closer, pointing at his face. "See the scar?" Normally, werewolves' super healing abilities allow wounds to heal quickly. But wounds inflicted by fellow werewolves don't heal. This scar was Nine's parting gift to me at the ball that night. Melissa asks, "So Nine really is a werewolf?" Jess smiles slightly. To be precise, he was once a werewolf. Werewolves who betray their kind have their tongues cut out and fangs pulled. Such creatures shouldn't even be called werewolves anymore. I should have killed him earlier, and I shouldn't have let him escape, much less meet you. You even brought him to the ball. Seems like you two have progressed quickly. You haven't hidden him, have you? Just hand him over obediently, and I promise you won't have any more trouble." Melissa mutters, "Shut up." Jess, not hearing clearly, moves closer. The result, he receives a kick from Melissa. Caught off guard, he flies backward again. Sitting on the ground in pain, he asks, "Why did you suddenly attack?" Melissa smiles coldly, "Said told you to shut up. Heine, did you clear the people and things around here as I instructed? Then find a place to hide yourself too." She then glares at Jess. "Even wild beasts understand rules better than you. Seems I need to teach you properly." After several rounds, Jess is once again sent flying by Melissa. Melissa is impatient now. "Won't you beg for mercy? I'm starting to feel sorry for you." Jess, covered in blood, still refuses to beg. He charges at Melissa again. After another intense battle, Jess is black and blue, finally forced to submit. Melissa leisurely drinks her tea. "And so, you want me to hand over Nine?" "How are you so certain I've hidden him?" Jess, nearly in tears, explains, "It's obvious. I turned this place upside down earlier and couldn't find a trace of him. Finally, thanks to a subordinate spotting him at the ball, we discovered him by chance." Melissa understands now, so that's why Nine suddenly disappeared that day. Jess laments, "Shai meant to kill him that day, but he unexpectedly scratched my eyes and escaped. That guy doesn't know the area, he must have run back to you. So I came before to confirm if Nine was here, but that white-haired guy interfered. You said to send a visiting card before coming, so I sent you a letter and only came today." Just then, Nine appears behind Melissa. "You guessed half right. I haven't hidden him, nor will I hand him over to you, because he's mine now. And I never casually give what's mine to others." Just earlier, Melissa had asked the Duke to let a commoner become her butler, that person being Nine. Fearing the Duke might refuse, Melissa had Nine open his mouth to show him. A mute wouldn't leak secrets. She continued, "If anything happens, I'll take full responsibility, because he's my person." Having received the Duke's consent, Melissa is quite pleased. But when Nine closes the door, Melissa suddenly coughs up blood and collapses. Everything is so unexpected, Melissa feels like she's entered a dreamlike place. A little girl cries before her. She approaches and asks, "Why are you crying?" The girl sobs, "And no one wants to hug me." Melissa smiles, opening her arms. "Then shall I hug you?" The girl refuses Melissa. Melissa restrains her anger. "Why then, don't cry so pitifully. You said you wanted a hug, but you won't let me hug you. Aren't you just messing with me?" The girl suddenly looks up. "I want Ian. He's my husband. Well, future husband. I like Ian very, very much, but he's always busy. But when we're married, I'll see him every day. Or so go bring Ian here. You're an adult. This must be easy for you. Though I last saw him 2 years ago." Melissa is angry. What kind of fiancé is this? Even a busy man shouldn't treat his fiancé this way. Such a young asshole. This infuriates the girl, who punches Melissa, insisting no one can insult Ian. Melissa tells herself not to get angry at a child. She asks sullenly, "Who taught you that?" The girl brightly replies, "Jack taught me. He said this move is super cool. Since you can't bring Ian, just go." Melissa smiles slightly. "And at least you've stopped crying. It seems that even without Ian, you can stop your tears." The girl blushes, "And I still like Ian no matter what. I also want to get along with my brother. And I definitely want a puppy someday, though I'm a bit afraid. I want to be loved. That's the kind of person I am. But you're different from me." "Melissa, although you're different from the original me, we are both Melissa." This startles Melissa. How could she forget that this little girl is the real Melissa? But the girl says, "Man, they're calling for the one who doesn't blindly chase love, who bravely fights against unfair treatment, and moves forward bravely even alone. Melissa's future life belongs to you now, so roll up your sleeves and make the most of it." Finally, Melissa opens her eyes. Still the familiar scene, and she has become the true Melissa. What's it like to open your eyes and see a beautiful man in tears? Seeing the worried Nine crying, Melissa speaks flatly. Time 9. I'm not dead yet. Seeing 9, she suddenly recalls little Melissa's words, I'm a bit afraid of wolves. Though she doesn't know how much influence she's had on this world since becoming Melissa, she's certain that 9 can stay here because of her current self. So she will definitely protect 9. But speaking of which, wasn't the door supposed to be locked? Her most feared scene is right before her, servants wailing and carrying on. So annoying. At the dining table, Melissa informs the Duke she needs a place to recuperate for a while. She was injured during her fight with Jess. Despite wielding the cheat sword, its defensive attributes are weak. Ordinary wounds would heal with good food and rest. But Melissa's injury is different. Werewolves with special powers and humans with magic power, despite similar appearances, have conflicting internal energies. When a werewolf's aggressive energy enters a human body, the body produces a strong rejection reaction, the cause of Melissa's internal injury flare-up. Though Melissa's internal magic is weak, it's still present. She's already tried hard to suppress her magic power but feels she's reaching her limit. She plans to go to Lipton, though it's just a barren wasteland. Melissa smiles. You know, it's Baron Elizabeth's territory. It's fine if they don't receive me. I just want to look around. As a faithful reader who finished the entire novel, Melissa is certain. The protagonist with her plot armor, Yuri, can definitely cure her illness and Nine's tongue. This is a spontaneous journey. Melissa sets off with 9 and Yona. She remembers that in the novel, Jack and Yuri once secretly escaped by carriage to avoid Melissa, so Melissa will help test this route for her. On the carriage, Melissa coughs up blood again. This phenomenon has become increasingly frequent. She must find Yuri quickly. However, before the carriage gets far, Melissa encounters trouble. They're surrounded by mountain bandits. Melissa sizes them up, just a bunch of tough-looking but weak bandits. She can handle them alone. But before that, they seem to have kidnapped someone. Melissa looks closely and nearly drops her jaw. It's Yuri. Have you ever seen such an absurd plot? Instead of the male protagonist saving the heroine? Just after seeing the captured Yuri, Melissa feels her internal injury acting up again. Logically, no matter what danger she faces, some man should save her. She's the protagonist after all. Come to think of it, this kind of scenario appeared once in the original story. But now the plot has changed. Those men are still nobodies now. So it's up to her to save the protagonist. Even without those men, it's fine. Rescuing the delicate Yuri? That is a piece of cake. Melissa draws her sword, looking menacingly at the bandits. Oh, sure, dead. After a few rounds, the bandits lie scattered on the ground. Melissa smiles. And all taken care of. She even lets the bandits crawl back to recover. She hasn't taken their lives, just wounded their limbs. They won't be robbing anyone again anytime soon. Melissa sighs, forcing a professional smile. Miss Yuri, you can call me Melissa. Though my face is covered in blood, I hope I don't frighten you. Yuri, concerned by Melissa's appearance, quickly asks if she's all right. Melissa dismisses it, claiming she's fine. The blood must be from the bandits, not hers. Come to think of it, she finds it amazing that she could precisely avoid vital points. Yuri worriedly says, "But that blood is coming from your mouth." Melissa ignores Yuri's words, instead asking if Yuri is hurt anywhere. If she were injured, that would be troublesome. But Yuri's face darkens. Miss Melissa, please stop talking. Melissa looks puzzled. True, now isn't the time for such talk. She still has her internal injury. Melissa suddenly feels weak. With her stamina, she couldn't possibly faint, could she? That would be too dramatic. Yet the next second, everything spins and she collapses. Melissa feels she could force herself a bit more. This is too embarrassing for a villainess. But what comes next is a swift chop to the head. Who did that? Surely not Yuri? Impossible. When Melissa wakes again, she sees Yuri. Yuri smiles. "This is Baron Elizabeth's house in Lipton." Melissa laughs dryly. "So this is Lipton? Are the local specialties sand and yellow earth?" Yuri speaks calmly. "And you're talking nonsense again. Seems I need to put you back to sleep." Melissa understands now. Yuri knocked her out. Yuri continues. "Everyone's worried about you. You've been asleep for 4 days. Your blue-haired companion is especially concerned, standing guard outside your door. But seeing your condition isn't good. I haven't let him visit you since yesterday." Melissa smiles gratefully to Yuri. Yuri frantically states she should be the one thanking her. After all, Melissa is her savior.